Hello everybody, I brought you to another location on my angling membership. I'm going to try and target perch and pike today. I brought a couple of rods with me. I think we're going to start the session off after some perch, and then depending on what it's like when it starts to drop light, we'll go on and try and catch some pike. The last time I was out, I spoke about coming somewhere with uber clear water, which is exactly why I've come here today. This is crystal clear water. I do have a couple of lures I've made that I want to test out, and a couple of styles of rigging that I want to check. So as we walk down to this spot, I'm just going to explain a little bit. So, got myself a lure. I'll show you the rigging a little bit more. I was expecting the camera to focus. A couple of decent spots we'll walk past. We'll try on the way back. So it is clear. So I come here so that I can test out new styles of rigging lures. There is some nice fish in here. I'm coming back here in the summer because there is some rather large carp as well. Very beautiful place, quite secluded, set in the centre of some houses. Looks like we've got some swans coming up. I don't know if we'll get past them. We'll stop here for a little bit. So yeah, I'm going to be fishing is, I'd say, a 6-inch curltail. Now I've gone through that with the wire trace and put treble in its back. I think little bullet weight on the trace. And buffer bead further up. Yeah, so bullet weight on the trace. Had a bit of a technical difficulty a minute ago, so I have already tried this, but I'm not quite sure if you can see. But the whole idea of behind me doing this was to try and keep the trebles on the back of the fish, but it's actually turning upside down in the water, dragging them across the bottom. First cast, I caught a nice big little razor clam, which isn't what I want to be doing, so I'm going to rethink my bait and we're going to see what we can go for. So I'll be back when I've got a different lure on. So we change lures. Something that I do have in my little box is a couple of these that I've painted myself. Might try these little crankbaits. Not sure if the water's going to be too cold. Now, I did come here in the summer. Wasn't the experience I was expecting. It's the first time I'd ever been here. I'd been fishing commercials for carp 3 or 4 weeks on the trot, with big bags of fish, cloudy water, easy tactics, and I came here and was met by crystal clear waters. Wasn't really sure how to fish them, so I think the smallest hook size I had was an 8. All I could find was shoals of rudd, roach. I did end up catching a roach on a hook because I didn't have any other bait, so just a flashy hook in crystal clear water seemed to manage to get them to want to bite. couple of these. There is pike in here though, so I don't really want to use these yet. Maybe later. Again, these are things that I've painted myself. There was nice perch around in the summer as well as roach, so I tend to use silvery or perch imitation baits while I'm on these waters fishing for predators. I think I'm going to go for this one. Not sure I need all the flashy colour, but we'll see how it goes. Well, so rigged up, I'm running a wire trace just in case. Like I say, I haven't actually fished here for perch before. I did see little ones in the summer, so have a look and see if we can tempt anything. So what I might do is move down swims, quite simply because I can't cast very well from this one. And there is still a tremendous amount of weed on the bottom of this lake. I think quite simply because it's clear, it's still getting sunlight, and it's managing to stay alive. But I think I might go up to the deeper bit, see if I can get some casts out. Come back to you when I'm there. Right, so I've come down one peg so far on my way to the other end of the lake, and I've just seen a swell, and I've got a little bit of room here to be able to cast, so I'm just going to have a couple of casts here, see if we can get anything. Again, it's very weedy here, so I am actually going to try and keep off of the bottom. I am running a wire trace because, like I say, I usually come here for pike. I do know they're in here. I've had some reasonably sized ones. Not 100% sure on the weight. Didn't bring scales. What I do have on me today though is a measuring tape, so that if we do catch any, we should be able to at least get a length on one. In fact, talking about that, Dippy old me has left the bag in the car with that in, so if we do get a decent perch, I'm not going to be able to measure it, so we might have to go to making a mark on the rod if that happens. So we'll just have a quick comb around in this section, see what we can find. Seems to have picked up some weed. Probably just a couple more casts here. So perch fishing isn't actually something I've done a lot of. I have caught perch, not intentionally, and this rod, which I might add is actually my girlfriend's. I've brought it today because it's got a nice soft tip in case there was some good perch about. I can chuck a drop shot on. If we find a nice little shoal of them. But also my ultralight gear is rated 2 to 8, and then multi-segmented jointed lures I showed you earlier do about 12-13 grams, and this is a 3 to 15 rod. So I brought this. It also has a little bit of extra length, which should allow me to be able to cast them without any issues. Hopefully that is. Anyway, so I might make this the last cast here. We'll go elsewhere. And say, one of the main issues I do have when I am perch fishing, possibly my ADHD. I feel like I'm already going too slow and I should probably go slower. I get bored. In all honesty, I don't have the confidence fishing slow, so I tend to struggle with it. It might be something I have to teach myself for a little bit longer before I become proficient at and can go perch fishing, actually catch perch. I'm a bit open-minded. As you can see, I forget, I say last cast and end up with one more. Yeah. Also, I have some big lures that I've been making, and really in the back of my head what I want to be doing is trying to catch some pike. So the other day I brought some lures, I think I'll show you later on when I get the box out. I think it's a Berkeley jointed and some other ones. But at the same time, while I was waiting for them to be delivered, I decided to use all of the tools that I buy randomly. I had to go at making some bigger lures for my new extra heavy pike rod. And I brought one here the other day, and the one I made actually was the only thing I got any hits on all day. I managed to get 2 on, but I wasn't filming, which is quite annoying because on is the word, landed was not. So one was really small and it was only on by one of the hooks on the tail of the lure. I didn't want to put it in the net, and it managed to get itself free when I tried to hand it in. The other one, I didn't get it that close. It looks of reasonable size, but I mentioned in my last video I brought myself a new rod, and my usual pike setup is a 10 to 40 gram rod, 6 foot, quite soft. My new one is a 30 to 140 gram rod, 8 foot, and it didn't look and feel like there was a decent sized pike on. When it come to the surface, I realised it was a reasonably decent sized pike. So I had a bit of a moment where I tried to second guess myself for setting up my drag properly. And what actually happened was I gave it some slack and the barbless hook was just pulled clean out of its mouth. So yeah, it didn't go very well. And yeah, I'm bored of this. I want to catch something big, so I'm going to make my way back to the car, swap over, and we'll go from there. Right, so big rod, and this is one of the lures I made myself over the past couple of days. It's actually two-tone, well, two-faced. I've just been testing out different types of perch patterns, so slightly different on both sides. Now I actually prefer this side. Comes in about 75 grams, and we're about to see for the first time how she looks in the water. So I don't know if you guys can see that, but that is extremely slow sinking. So it does very tight S turns, well, very shallow S should I say, and but sometimes when new, you can just need a little bit of a tweak and a fettle just to set them up. See if we can change any of the movements. It does seem to just want to go off to the left when you release. So now, admittedly, I've got another one in my bag that I think performs possibly a little bit better, but it is a lot chunkier. Now I can just see the nose of this, and it's probably swinging from left to right on an S about 3 inch, I'd say, to either side, just slowly left and right on the retrieve. Let's get another block. So that's like more, but this way. It'd be nice to try leaving it sink a little bit, and then just slow taps on the reel. So I think the key might be say 10-second count, wind until you feel the tension, and then one full wind, pause for 3 to 5 seconds, and then try it like that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. just moved swind. Don't know if this is going to make it a bit easier to see this lure. Yeah, I'm just going to try a couple of casts around here, if we can get anything. As always, we do miss out today. I do have some footage from when I've been here before. Not very long footage, but I was joyous enough on my first encounter here to first peg, second cast, a decent sized pike. Now, I didn't have any scales, so I didn't weigh it. And in the video I claim it's double for me. Even if it's a Snag Bro double, it's a double. So I'll edit that in somewhere. It'll be as smooth as my other edits, as always. But yeah, something in there that shows you that I've caught from here. There is reasonably decent sized pike in here. I did come dead baiting down the far end where it was shallower, and down there wasn't really getting much action, but one managed to sneak up on me while I was just gently twitching it back into the shore. I was paying attention for something sneaking up from behind, and actually it came from in front as I was twitching back underneath a tree branch. And what would have been easily a metre pike snatched, but I did not manage to get it landed. So I do know there is decent sized pike in there. Catching them on the other hand, that's going to be the trick. And hopefully one of these days they keep coming. So this is probably the place I come to the most after my angling membership. Quite simply because, like today, there is only me here. I was quite shocked. Came here Christmas Eve, and there was actually 2 other people here. That's the busiest I've ever seen it. In the summer when I came and was surprised by the water, there was just the one person here who was fortunate enough to catch a rod and reel on his first cast. In the summer, the reeds here are about 8 foot deep, which is one of the reasons why I never fished for the carp when I first came. I need to learn some tactics for catching fish off the top. I know bread, and I think that's how it's going to be here in the summer. I might just bring a little 10 foot 3 pound rod and just chuck some bread about, see what we can get off the top, because there has got to be some 30 pound carp in here. There is also rumoured to be some rather large tench caught in the 9-ish pound mark, I do believe. I haven't seen any yet. I might have seen one the other week when I was trying to catch pike, but I wasn't really sure. I knew it wasn't pike, and I was winding in the lure, so couldn't really pay too much attention to what was lurking at the bottom. But there was definitely something dark, and it looked bigger than the carp that I know are in here. So unless there's some now smaller carp, I'm not 100% sure. I might try doing a little bit more of an erratic movements here and bring anything up. It is cold, so I'm not really expecting anything to come up right to the surface, but you never know. But if you want a bait to imitate a dying fish at the surface, this looks pretty good for that. Really good in the summer. Now let's let that sink again a couple of minutes, couple of seconds. Next big down, we've got a little bit of bush here, so I'm just going to have a bit of a flick out around here, just let it slowly sink, see if anything is lurking, maybe interested in it. Cold clear waters, trying stuff that sort of suspends, and it's there, you see, just waiting, slowly sinking, bit of a slip, slowly sinking, bit of a twitch, slowly sinking. Closer look while I change at the two lures that I've been painting. This is the one I've just been throwing. Now these are about 18 centimeters long, or 180 mil in good money. This one weighs 70 grams, 75 grams. I don't think it's got enough weight in it for a big, wide S swing. It is almost suspending, sinks very slowly, but I had designed it for bigger hooks, so I only had some size 4s knocking about, so that's what I put on it. I'm looking for 1s, maybe 01s. They should add the extra weight just so that it drops a little bit easier, and they could help swing a little bit more on the pendulum. What I'm about to put on is the big brother. So this is exactly the same length, but but in comparison, it is twice as thick. Also virtually twice as heavy. This one comes in at around 140, 138 grams. And this is the one, as you can see by the scratches. There is teeth marks from where I brought this the other day, and this outperformed 35, 40 pound lures. So I'm going to chuck this back on and see where that gets us. So, big lure on. I don't know if you can see at all. This one tends to sink a little bit quicker. So, we'll give it a try, see if it makes a difference. Using this one as well with the extra weight and it's sinking a little bit quicker helps me get the line down into the water a little bit quicker, which then helps sort of keep it away from the top and down a little bit lower. So let's see if this makes a difference. The movement on this one is so much better in the water. I don't know if it's the extra weight, but it's got to swing a good foot and a half in essence. Because it is slow sinking as well, you can bring it back quite slow and not have to worry about it snagging up, because it does lift itself back up quite easy. It's critically balanced to be sinking with the size of the hooks that are on it, so the minute them hooks do touch the deck, the lure stays suspended above them as if it was a fish resting on the bottom, still vertical. And with these slow S's as well, bring it in for a couple of winds, and then when you let go, it swings off to one side. You can switch it. There's some really good flanks and darts in all sorts of directions. So I think I'm going to make a couple more of this sort of size and weight. Do with something that looks a little bit roachy. I'll also do with something perchy as well in this, because I don't think the other one we've just been using is going to come in to its own until summertime, unless getting some bigger hooks on it does make all the difference. Its movement and how fast it sinks. Now, beyond surprised, wouldn't cut the well that these lures have come out. The action that they've got. Like I say, I'm not a lure builder. I'm just somebody that gets bored easy and try and fill my time with productive things. I can't go fishing one day. I try and make it so that at least I'm doing something towards the next time that I do go fishing, whether that be research or making my own lures. The other added benefit, obviously, it does save you money, and you're not going to turn up to somewhere that is heavily fished with that kind of lure. It's not that every man and his dog's going to have turned up with what you're throwing, the colour scheme that you've gone for, shape, size. Most lures nowadays do come plastic. They have metal parts inside. They have a rattle. And I think sometimes coming to these places and something that is silent, more like a natural fish, can be that benefit, that little edge that you need. Just to try and get them to bite, basically. I don't think much interactive today. So, make this last cast. Then we want to expect literally nice and dance, take it up to a little bit more water. See what we got. If you catch anything. That tends to put an end to today's session. I mean, it's always nice coming here. It's a really beautiful place. The water is crystal clear. I don't think I've ever seen it dirty. Usually I manage to get a couple of bites. Today, nothing. Probably because I wanted it to produce. Again, I've brought my camera somewhere and I've had nothing. Not a day that's been put to an end though, to be fair. It's been reasonably good as regards testing out my new lures. I think I may need to go a little bit heavier with the new one I made. The other one I'm still impressed with. I like the fact that they shoot off to the side when you stop retrieve. Both of them do that quite well. The new one tends to only want to go to its right hand side more than the left. Could be the way that the eyes formed on it. I will be back here again, hopefully within a couple of days. I want to catch some pike. It just seems to be the only thing that's on my mind at the minute. I'm not 100% against any other fishing at the minute, but as you can see, my mind isn't on the perch fishing. I struggled to keep my attention. I was getting bored. I need to be slow with that. I think also I knew in the back of my mind I should be setting up a drop shot and maybe trying to fish something like that. Hence the rod I brought, but it's cold. I didn't want to have to get them fluoro out, start trying to tie rigs because I don't have any pre-made. But yeah, hopefully next time we come we can have a better result, show you some of the pike that live in these waters. I've got 4 other lakes not far from this one as well. One of them's really murky, so I don't think I have any rates with rattles in. They could potentially attract pike. There's pike in all of them. One of them's got pike into above 25, I believe, has been recorded. So I definitely want to go and have a look. But as you've seen, there's only ever been me here while we've been here today, and I'm still on the edge, and there's loads of other people there. I know the fishing community really is not a bad one, and I've never met a fisherman yet that made me feel worse than I do on my way there. So I might just need to put my big boy pants on and just go and get around my anxieties and stuff and see if I can actually enjoy it there, because one of them is a rather large lake and I've only ever been to one peg. It's the same as this, so it's perfectly clear. I'd love to go and have a walk around. Just a couple of casts in each of the pegs just to see what it is, so maybe that's where we'll be next. We are due some snow. Yay, hopefully for a month. But we will see what that does. In that case I might have to get dead bait out, although I have noticed here a week ago when I came there was a lad and son. They was dead baiting and I've noticed that some of their bait's still on the bottom. So I don't think pike in here are interested in it. Or maybe they left that much around and they're just not hungry. So stop talking now. As you can see, the light is fading, and I'm out.